Breathing in love and breathing out love to you all. Lovely greetings from the Garda Lake. I have switched location where I'm working, but I'm also going to the lake to swim sometimes. For me, very important message is to have a role model. I was growing up and I had absolutely no role model. I was aware that before me were a lot, like 10,000 women before me. I was always thinking, how did they get along? How did they put and compromise with themselves? What did they want from life? And I suddenly understood that I have to be, first of all, in a room that is totally silent, just with myself. I had to be my own role model. Even as a child, I had to think what would be the best solution out of things in that moment. And then of course when you grow up, you suddenly have your role models, and if you're lucky you have them personally, but I had them over books. And yeah, Katie Byron just blew me away. She's fully at peace. There is nothing that could shake her world, and that was what I wanted. That was what I wanted so badly for me. And then when I suddenly had it, I was like, okay, now I can give it back to every woman that asks for it. I'm determined with women. It's not like men can't get the message too. Of course they can. It's just I want to create like a womanly haven where we can just be together and be our own role models together and learn how to do it. And yeah, this role model of Katie Byron opened up my whole world. There's no one in this world that opened it up more than her bringing out a book, her with her presence, which I was allowed to see now this July. And that's what you have to have. What is your role model? I'd love to hear about it. So if you think about your mother and your father, and for me, like I said, I want to do this for women. It's like, if we think about our mothers and mother and grandmothers and their mothers and cousins and uncles, and what kind of weird stories there are everywhere. Like my my grandfather left my grandmother and just left for Australia. It's just like, I can't believe her shock. I don't even know if she came over that because she died quite early. All these little hidden stories in families, which we represent in a way too, and we can clear up for ourselves, is very important. And then I suddenly grasped that the peace I am living right now has never been achieved in my family before me. It hasn't. It's like no one even set out for the journey, because I remember my mom telling me when I was around a teenager and I already had the notion and the feeling, I want to have that feeling in my life, that she always said, well, if someone would have it, we would know about it in the news and anywhere. So I dropped that thought. It was like, yeah, true, only the fittest survive and just carry on and, do all the mistakes that you do. You do the mistakes anyhow, but you can, there's a nice saying from Katie Byron. She says, you can run from a bear, or you can run from a bear and be totally scared. And that's how we live our lives. You can be surviving, but like in a struggle situation, but you can be happily surviving in a way of, the cards will be played out towards you and you just have to deal with it. We have our karma and our journey and our road to go. No matter what you decide, you are on a movement journey. It's like you can't just stop moving. And yeah, for me, looking back at all those women, also the intentions of why then it came to me, why did they go into a relationship in the first place? And the things they sometimes said to me while we were just drinking coffee or sitting at birthday parties was just amazing for myself. Like my grandmother said, yeah, I wanted to marry that man because I knew he had that house and I wanted that man, like as if there was just no other option in that moment. And the intention of it is already, for me, not in a loving mood. My mum wanted the guy that, went through the whole world. My dad was a traveling technician of the whole world. He was in Pakistan, India, everywhere. And that made her desire quickly erupt for him. So for me, this deep-seated desire for loving yourself first has never been applied somewhere. So I have broken this chain and also had to go into my way of why I went into relationships and why I started the desire to love someone, where I had to double examine why I'm doing things, brought me to this place that I am right now. And that is a place of being totally whole without someone being around me. It's like, I don't know, it's like you don't have to cling to something, you don't have to be attached to something. You can always watch what God presents in front of you and be your best version of yourself while being peaceful. And if a relationship shows up, it's nice, and if not, also good, because we only get that what we really need in that moment. So I went back and I thought, wow, my grandmother, my mother, and my sister, and everyone, they need that. It's like a real, I always say, puppy love need. It's like you're sitting in a puppy shop and waiting for one human to show up and show you that they love you, and you can't access this love out of yourself. And just going through your own family patterns, you will notice that you will probably be the one, and have to be the one, who does it first. So I love how Oprah Winfrey says that when you walk into a room, you don't walk into the room just by yourself. I'm walking into the room and representing my family. Like, if I would be just in the most stupidest situations, always in my head about what happened to my family, and giving them the blame of what they did to me, I wouldn't have come as far as I have come for myself. I can only feel it for myself, and I can only explain it to you as an enlightened way of being. But I have the responsibility of all these generations behind me, like my grandmother with I don't know how many siblings, sisters and brothers she had. I think she had around 10. And you're walking your walk in representation of all of that. They're all behind me. And who knows where the family once lived, maybe Siberia, maybe, who knows. So you are walking with, Oprah says, with those 10,000 women behind you. And not that I just believe in God, and God as I'm a representation of Him putting me here. It's also the representation of all these women that had these big dreams and never pursued them because they didn't have the courage to do so. So all these moments where I had to be so courageous with myself, even though I shocked myself by doing it, just makes you the woman that you are. So we have a responsibility, because the children and the grandchildren that we have, or our family members have, they will look up to you. They will look like, that was my aunt. My aunt was traveling. My aunt was giving back what she learned. We have this responsibility. So in your little world, if you're a baker, if you're a car seller, if you are, whatever you're doing, do it for a bigger purpose. Do it for all the generations that are going to come, and think about you as their uncle, aunt, grandmother, mother, maybe someone just randomly that meets in a hotel. You have so much to give. There is a responsibility behind that. So when I represent all these women, which I'm not even fond of, if I hear their stories, they have their reasoning, but for me, problems always start at a certain point when you don't really double question yourself and go into intuition. If you just do it out of an attitude of, I want to have, I'm greedy, I need. And I think that's what happened all the generations before me. So I'm the first one who could satisfy and settle the financial situation, my emotional situation, my traveling situation, my partner situation. We have now much more opportunities to be the better version of who we could be in a family environment. And that doesn't mean that I'm sitting with my family day and night, which isn't the case at all. Very rarely. But I feel as if I belong to a whole huge family of hearts that connect. It's like being really just like an image of being the queen of hearts of so many people that desire to be. Doesn't have to be family, it can be people that you randomly meet. Nothing happens without a reason, so these are people that are extended into your family vision. They are for me family, and I am for them family. I feel that. And a whole new world opens up. So the people at your dinner table tonight are not always the ones that broaden your horizon. I think our new generations are that we see role models and we can give our hearts and they can give their hearts to us. Doesn't necessarily always have to be your family at the dinner table. It's always someone that you meet or where you just feel that you have a soul bond. So by going out on my journey, for me the most important moment as a woman, and also for the generations before me and the after generations to come, is to have this authentic power, which has nothing to do with my looks, which has not even anything to do, I mean you can see it in my lifestyle, it has nothing to do with that. It's about my approach to life when I get up, when I talk to you, when I talk to other people, that I don't put up a fence around my heart. It's a power of indestructible love. I have it for I don't know how it came about, but it came about that the whole universe is suddenly, I'm aware of it. I'm aware of my heart and I'm aware of the universe, and I'm aware that I'm eternal. I'm aware that if I want to, just like you see the light now on the right side of the screen, that there is a light, and this light I can put onto anything I want. I can imagine anything with light. It's not about, all our needs are already met today. We all ate, we all slept good, we all have much more than we need, but the need and the hunger for the soul is so deep. And when that came on to me, that every generation before me, every woman had that need, but never asked, questioned, or set out on that journey to get it, I got it. And for me it was more important than anything you could offer me, that first of all this one gets to overflow, and then everything else should and will fall into place.